It has come almost full circle with me on this channel. One of the first amplifiers I ever reviewed was the Fozzy Audio BT20A. Well, now we're going to be talking about the BT20A Pro. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about this little amp that you didn't know you needed. So first things first, Fozzy Audio has and continues to sponsor the channel. They also send me products. However, they don't tell me what to say. Most of the times when I get a sponsored video, I am giving a list of talking points and then I have to hit each talking point. Oftentimes I have to send the video back to the company and they have to approve it. They want to support the channel and they are easy to work with. And the reason why I chose to work with Fozzy Audio is because they make great products. I was already recommending their products before the channel was ever sponsored by them, and they were the first company that responded to me when I gave them a negative review about the TB10D, which they reworked and now is one of my favorite products. And it's not just because they sponsored the channel. Actually, they weren't sponsoring the channel back then. But enough about that. This is the BT20A Pro. It is the updated version. Their older version used a different chipset. The previous generation used a TPA, which is a Texas Instruments 3116. Now, I said early on that that amp sounded very natural. The problem is that can't take as much power as the new upgraded version, and I wish they would just call it a new model number because BT28, I guess BT28 Pro. Anyway, it uses the 3255 amp chipset that I am absolutely in love with because you can upgrade the power supply all the way up to a 48 volt 10 amp power supply. For all of your high power needs, it comes with a 32 volt 5 amp power supply out of the box, which in most applications is going to be just dandy. I am glad it doesn't come with just a 24 volt. 24 volt, kind of on the edge. Most of the time it's going to be fine, but the 32 volt 5 amp, you do the math, that's 160 watts. But this new BT20A Pro has a bit of a secret on the inside. But first, let's take a look around it. Let's take a walk around it, see what it looks like. If you are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video. I have over 600 videos. They're all free. So the thing that you can do to help me out the most is just subscribe, like this video. Turn on all the bell notifications, pots and pans notifications, all the good notifications. And thank you so much for watching. This one is slightly bigger than the old one. And I have the old one here. I just don't know where it's at. I think it may be upstairs running like rear channels or something. Actually, I'm almost positive that it's upstairs because I use it to run rear surrounds wirelessly upstairs. Anyway, so this is the front of the amplifier. This orange volume knob is optional. It comes with it, but it also comes with regular gray one if you want to be matchy-matchy. I just put the orange one on there because I think it's cool. So over here you have your power toggle on, off. Then you have, I guess this is treble tone controls, bass tone controls, and then obviously the volume. One of the things with the old BT20A is when you hooked up to it from Bluetooth, it grabbed on to your Bluetooth device and wouldn't let go. I would try to power cycle it. I would try to do a whole bunch. Well, no more. Now the volume, if you long press it down, it disconnects the Bluetooth, okay? So they do have some local control of the Bluetooth pairing. When you turn it on out of the box, it just wants to go right into pairing mode. And this light will light up blue when you are paired with a Bluetooth device. On the back, pretty simple. You have an RCA input. Next to that, you actually have an auxiliary output. So this is a 3.5 millimeter output that you can use to connect to a subwoofer. So you can control the subwoofer level with the volume on here. And then you have your regular speaker outputs, and then you have your power input. And if you notice, I know you probably can't read that, it says 24 all the way up to 48. And then right here, Bluetooth aerial System of the Down. Here's the secret. It goes like that. It pulls out. And then guess what? Removable socketed op amps? That's right. Removable socketed op amps. You can hot rod this thing with whatever type of op amps you want. Well, I mean, you have to have the specific type of op amps. And since there are two in here and this is a single-ended, I believe those op amps are mono op amps. So you have to check for sure which op amps are going to work with this one. But let's take a look. I think it tells you which ones. As far as Sparkos and Burson, the full discrete ones, you're going to have to make sure that you double check with OPA 26041P, OPA 2134PA, amongst other ones. So what I would personally do is look up whichever op amp works with this from Sparkos or Burson, because I really like those discrete op amps. Now, you don't have to, because those are expensive, and there is kind of a community of people that do op amp rolling. And think of op amp rolling kind of like tube rolling, only it's an op amp, and they're new, so you don't have to put it old. Nothing wrong with tube rolling. I love tube rolling around these, because the Burson and the Sparkos take up a lot of room, because I am going to compare the stock version to amps. They're definitely more expensive op amps, but I have two of them here so that I can switch them out. The other cool thing is Fozzy Audio is giving away 4 of these amps. So the only thing you have to do is fill out the, but because it's release day today, they're going to give away a bunch of them. How does it sound? 0 in there, 99 times, I don't know. And then the signal to noise ratio is about 108 dB, is higher the better, so it's going in the right direction. I never particularly had a problem with the BT28. I thought it sounded great. It wasn't as clean as a lot of the other amps I've heard. I know the horsepower of they reworked it. Now it sounds awesome and is one of my de facto recommendations for an affordable amplifier. They do use better parts in this one than the TB10D. I really can't ask for anything more at $100. And I know you can't really consider this a review because I'm getting paid to make this video, but it's not like I'm gonna, hey, this is the greatest thing in the world, and it's actually terrible. Now, they're using a great part. Best amp chipset you can get, removable op amps, and a bunch of high-end inductors and caps. I know op amp sockets aren't super expensive, but it's just such a cool thing when companies do this, because it opens up, basically it allows us to customize our gear, kind of improve upon it over time. And this is the perfect product to do that. With the 3255 chipset, you can improve or upgrade your power supply over time. With the socketed op amps, you can change out your op amps and improve them, put better ones in there. Take a look at the Sparkos, take a look at the Burson. They're both awesome, but you can also take a look at $10 Texas Instruments op amps. Just make sure you get the right one and make sure you put them in the right orientation, because if you put them in backwards, poof, puff, the magic dragon comes out of your Class D amplifier. So what are my final thoughts? I think the internals are perfect. I think they got them exactly where they need to be. Long term, I would love to see Fozzy start to step up. Maybe charge a little bit more and put this in a nicer enclosure. Maybe put a VU meter on there. Hint, hint. I know Duke Audio is doing that. Make this a little bit bigger from an enclosure standpoint. Something along the lines of like a Saga from Schkit, or kind of a medium-sized size of electronics. I think it's great. I think it is amazing how much better this is than the BT20A. And the BT20A was already good. It's amazing, though, in 2 or 3 years that this is now what we get for around the same price. I would imagine that this is probably going to fluctuate with coupons, but at $100 you could put a Wii Mini on this, put it in the corner, and be done with it. This does not have a DAC in it, obviously, so if you wanted the best out of the Wii Mini, you'd probably need to get an external DAC. Out of the box, though, you can hook your phone up to this via Bluetooth and put some speakers on it, wire it to your powered sub, and you can have a great 2.1 channel system with your phone as the source. Great product. I'm not surprised. Fozzy Audio has been knocking it out of the park lately. Again, if you want one of these for free, fill out the Google form down in the description. Look at all the rules and everything. After a while, I will randomly pick some people and they will get an amplifier. I think this even works overseas because they are going to be drop shipping. Fozzy Audio is going to be drop shipping them. So I think if you win and you're overseas, we're not going to have to do anything weird. They'll just send it to you. So if you want to support the channel, you can sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Sunday night, we have Patreon-only Zooms. Well, except for last night. Patreon-only Discord, Patreon-only Facebook group. You can also use the links in the description. Those are affiliate links, which means if you click and you buy, I do get a commission, but it doesn't cost you any more, so it's a great way to support the channel. By the way, I think there's only 8 of these in stock. I know that they're going to be restocking, though. You can also sign up for Amazon, Rune, or Tidal. Links in the description. Click sign up. I think they have a 30-day trial. Even if you quit, I get a couple of bucks. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix. You can also use the thanks button down at the bottom of the video next to the share button. Buy me a cup of coffee. Put a tip in the tip jar, but don't feel compelled to buy me anything. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Binge listen and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.